Give it to me.
You were at the game.
Yeah.
Was that the weirdest NFL game you've ever seen?
100%.
Yeah.
I don't care if you weren't at the game. That was the weirdest. 2 block punts in a row. Guy breaks his leg. Missed field goal by a 1,000-year vet that gives the Colts a chance. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going positive because the Colts are firmly in the middle of the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I don't really say anything at games. Like I cheer, like, all right. And then Cam and I, we're telling, we should do this. We're screaming, take a knee with 13 seconds to go. When they got in the shotgun and the ball got batted up in the air.
Oh, yeah.
We're screaming, take a knee, Ken.
Yeah.
The whole season and Steichen's entire reputation would have changed had that ball been intercepted and a field goal kicked to win the game. I couldn't get out of my head.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
You talk about big balls Billy.
Yeah.
Shane Steichen's got big balls, and he's right a lot.
Yeah.
Like I think he knows what he's doing. I think he's a very smart guy. I think he's a smart guy who portrays himself as like an ordinary guy, and Frank Reich's like ordinary smart who portrayed himself as a really smart guy.
Yes.
I like this one better.
I do too, but that was stupid. That was stupid. Hey, we're literally take a knee. We saw him getting a shotgun, and we've just been Cam and I were just talking to ourselves and my daughter and her friend.
Yeah.
We weren't externally, but we saw him. We're like, no, and then it gets batted up and it froze for like a minute and a half. Well, obviously it was a second, but we're like, oh, just get it. Then they did, which is good. Yeah.
Sometimes, conservatism is a better part of valor.
Kent, there was a bigger chance that something went wrong than something went well in that position.
Yeah, right.
This wasn't Tom Brady back there.
Right.
This was our boy, who, by the way, I'm sorry, remember about 5 or 6 weeks ago I said it was going to be the Alec Pierce game? The guy meant this game.
It was good. Those were 2 good throws.
Ooh.
When he gets set in the pocket and he flings it a little bit, he can throw dimes. He is not bad.
And I'll tell you what, Alec Pierce beat on both of the long balls, won the touchdown. He beat the guys bad.
That was straight from Venturi. Rick Venturi was like, look, those corners, you can beat those guys.
Oh, really?
You can go after those guys. And they did. They knew it. Everybody, and you know what? Like talent and speed will get you advantage. And in that limited instance, they got an advantage with the speed.
You know what's interesting about being there? You mentioned us being there, and it's really weird. The place knew they were going to lose.
Really?
It was really weird. It was just an odd, and you say to me, how did you know? Well, the people around us were making comments, and guy in front of us was really good friends with, he got the tickets from the offensive coordinator. We got the tickets from Mike Vrabel. Thankfully, Mike Vrabel, he donated to our bikes program, and we sold it to my buddy Cam and my brother. I made a lot of money, and the tickets were great, but you can't, we both said you can just kind of, you could feel it. They were waiting to lose.
Could you feel that when you coached? Could you feel the mood of the arena?
Oh, home and away. Oh,
really?
Yeah. Oh, God.
You could feel a confident crowd against you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
You could feel that. And again, it's like I always use the Supreme Court justice. I know it when I see it, but I can't define it. And that's what it is. It's like, it was like, and then we're walking out. And maybe this added to it because now we're a day later, but, so many people are like, I knew it, we always do, like that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But we were sitting there in our stand, and we were around, I assume we were around families, like Nick Westbrook's, my daughter knew Nick Westbrook from college, whatever his third name is, and her wife was sitting over there, and so, right. But even that crowd was like a sense of doom.
Really?
Yeah. And I didn't anticipate that, right? I don't really see that.
You and I were both at Game 7 of the 2003 National League Championship Series, the night after the Bertman debacle. Did you feel for one moment in Wrigley Field that the Cubs had any chance whatsoever?
No, I think I told you that.
Yeah,
I think I told you, like, man, can you feel this?
It was the worst negative crowd ever.
It's like waiting to die.
Yeah,
it's like you're living a great life, but you're just sitting there waiting to die. And it felt that way. And then it was like I don't know why. Let's go through all the weird stuff, and I'm going to get to Foles or what's it? Polk? Was it Folk? Folk Smith. You ever see 2 block punts in one game?
No.
Back to back?
No.
Never.
On 3 and outs.
Yes.
Like there were 5 straight 3 and outs. This was boom, touchdown, boom, field goal. It's unbelievable.
I saw the first one, and then whatever the reason, my phone was dying, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I went to the bathroom, and I walked over to charge, and I was going to charge it for 5 minutes. I just happened to look up at the TV screen, and I thought it was a replay. I did. I thought it was a replay, and then I realized, wait, he didn't score.
Yeah.
So it was a replay. But my God, it was 2 in a row, and then I've never watched a game, and I'm sure you have. I have not. Where you go for 2, you don't get it, and the other 2 gets 2. I've never
seen it.
Have you?
No, never seen that. I've never seen it go the other way and get there.
Get there.
I've seen guys lateral and it's all chaos. I've never seen that happen.
Well, that's the other thing about being at the game. It
was huge.
It was massive.
Went from 5 to 3 instead of 5 to 7.
I have a theory. My buddy Cam turned me on to this. I'm not looking for 2-point conversions until the fourth quarter. Yeah. Until that, I'm stacking points, because it always comes back to bite you. Every time, however the math works out, however the scoring works out. But it's, you mentioned being at the game, so you're at the game, right? And we're sitting not low, but great seats, unbelievable seats, and you could just see man, Gardner Minshew was the only guy back when he got when the guy for the Texans beat him. And it was one of those deals where it made me think, how did Roethlisberger stop Nick Harper?
Yeah,
because it feels this wide, and you're an athlete. You're not really an athlete. Yeah. It was unbelievable. That's the first thing.
And Roethlisberger was on the ground. Right. I mean, how he got stabbed the night before by his girlfriend, stabbed in the leg. What kind of crazy nonsense is that?
The ball finds you, man.
Yeah.
The girl that stabbed the boy. The boy gets the ball, and he can't get past Fat Ben Roethlisberger to go get a touchdown. But that was the first thing I thought of, because I saw the ball, and I looked like, is anybody back? Well, he beat some fat guys, and now is anybody? Yeah, there's Minshew. And then Minshew falls down, whatever, and then we're like, well, shit, how did Roethlisberger ever?
Yep.
And then the punter broke his leg, and that was kind of gruesome.
That's the way it goes.
That's right.
And the holder.
Yeah.
So Tannehill had to go out there as the holder, and that didn't go so well. That saved the Colts' ass.
Do you think that did you think Levis was good?
I did.
I did too.
Yeah.
What's the problem with him? Why do we like him?
That's the first time I really thought. And I watched him when he was at Kentucky some, because I thought maybe the Colts, it seemed like this is the kind of guy that the Colts are going to like. So I watched him, and I thought he was a train wreck. But now I think, all right, you got Stroud, you got Levis, you've got, who am I missing? Jacksonville. Yeah. Shit, you got Lawrence. That's a hell of a division. You better hope that Richardson can kind of right the ship, because you can't compete with them having Minshew as your starting quarterback. You just can't.
Maybe this year, but not ever. Not.
This is a really weird team. They're winning weird. It's not winning ugly. It's just winning weird. Game after game, the game against the Ravens was just so odd. The game against the Patriots, 10-6, right? But you felt like it was 42-3.
Well, obviously that's how the Patriots played, because they couldn't get a point. They went Iowa football on us yesterday. They went but I agree. And think about the weirdness of yesterday. Like the Colts, they had another batted ball that a kid had in his hands, and he drops it, or the game's over.
Yeah.
Like the Colts got every conceivable break in that game, including a veteran kicker who when you're at the game, I don't put a headset on and listen, so I don't know how many that Folk had made in a row, extra points, but you think this guy's automatic, right? I mean, everybody's automatic.
I think he had made something like 45 in a row from 40 and in.
Okay. Well, that's
and then he hadn't punted in at least 16 years. Yeah. And he got back and hit some good punts. All right. Do you think that I thought in the moment when Tannehill botched that hold, I was like, okay, 32 NFL head coaches this week are going to drill their backup holder and get that operation solid.
Yeah, you know what? You just, to your point, you don't know.
Right.
Like you don't know who's going to be, tell me what you could have bet. Betting's a big deal. Tell me what you could have got on DraftKings. that Tannehill was going to hold and Folk was going to punt. Yeah, I mean, you just don't know. And
right.
I'll give the Colts credit. You know what? The defense stood up when they needed to. They got the deep ball. They made some plays. You know, one of the things about overtime, which is really weird, 10 minutes goes fast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, shit. They were holding the ball, they being the Titans, and it felt like they might run this whole quarter out.
Yeah.
Like, you look up, and the Colts had it with like 4 or 5 to go, and you're like, whoa.
And the Colts had that drive that was more than 10 minutes at the beginning of the second half. And that's a similar situation. You know, you can possess the ball for 10 minutes. You can do it. Kick the field goal and you're all done. I don't know why they limited it to 10 minutes.
They did 15. Cam was telling me they did
15.
And then they said, well, they wanted, that whole player protection, less plays. We don't want all that.
That's complete nonsense.
Freaking nonsense. All right, Jonathan Taylor, I got to tell you.
Yeah.
They need Jonathan Taylor.
They do.
We're Moss people. We're good with him, but you could just tell, like, even this guy in front of me is like, man, he goes, I've been to basically every one of these games, and I travel with the team to go to when they play, in Indy, and boy, they miss Taylor. Like Taylor, this guy gets you 3 or 4, Taylor gets you 7-9.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could really see that yesterday because thank God they got the ball over the top to Pierce, but there wasn't much happening.
You know what, I think Vrabel's got a pretty good memory, and he knows that Moss went for 160 here in October, and he wasn't going to have that happening again. So it was like, we're going to stop Moss, and let's make Minshew throw it to beat us. And they got the right looks for Minshew to hit Pierce on a couple of deep balls. They had a couple of gadget plays that worked. Hey.
That's where I kind of think the Colts have a esprit de corps about them. When they run something, a gadget play, it kind of works. It even doesn't work. It kind of does work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's not stupid. Like I always felt like sometimes Frank Reich, and maybe it's a matter of make or don't make.
Yeah.
Play works, it doesn't work. But I always thought that Frank Reich, you'd go, what the fuck is you thinking? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how I got it. I'm sure.
I had that a lot.
Right?
Yeah.
And then this guy's like, okay, I see, okay.
And his explanation was always strong go, green light. What? Like, okay, you're going to lay it at the lap of the MIT guys who are doing the Chisholm Bop up in the suite trying to figure out, they got the abacus. Strong go. All right.
Yeah, red light, green light, go. What'd you think of your corners?
You know what? Sometimes I love Jalen Jones, and sometimes it looks like Jalen Jones doesn't want to hit anybody. He drives me a little crazy. DJ Baker, I thought, covered well. Kenny Moore is playing his balls off. He is really playing well. I like Julian Blackmon. I'm all in on Julian Blackmon.
Yeah.
I mean, for a third-round kid out of Utah that gets hurt all the time, he's playing his ass off.
Kenny Moore made a hell of a play that got negated by it was a gadget play. He bred and blew it up and got. I think it was an offside, so maybe that's why he got it. But he made a hell of a play.
Bryan.
Oh man, yeah. Look, I mean, you win obviously, but I didn't really see like if you're going to ask me what was the most like to me the best thing that came out of it. We always say they don't have a deep threat, and everybody's a number 2 receiver. Well, regardless, I know Rick said that you go at those guys, but I thought Pittman was a hell of a number 2 receiver. He did what he's supposed to do,
good.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to come down with 10 catches every single Sunday.
Right. And Pierce complimented.
Yeah.
Complimented I call it the Willie Galt position, where you just go deep, we'll try to get it to you once in a while. I thought that was the best thing that came out of the day because I'm not sure we've seen that in 2 years.
And I think that's going to pay off this coming week against the Bengals, where not only are they having Pierce run real fast in a straight line down the sideline, they hit him twice. So now you got to respect it, and you got to have a safety over the top at all times, and that gives you one fewer defender. That's nice. Doesn't
everybody always say you got to be able to spread out the defense? You got to spread the defense.
Right.
You got to make and to your point. Well, basically, it's been your point every week. Just load up 8-9 in the box and make Minshew beat you. Well, he did. And I just thought it was fun to watch Pierce do what he did, and it was fun that you saw a quarterback. It wasn't an enema. You didn't have to grunt every. We got to get 3 yards. Oh, we took a penalty. The penalty ruins the whole drive because we can't throw it past. Right. Like that's what the NFL kind of is.
And you mentioned the esprit de corps, and so when Pierce in the overtime catches that ball and he's down on the 2. is like that whole team, and they should be because it's a huge high leverage play. Like they were genuinely happy for Pierce and in the moment in a way that you never saw last year under any circumstance. It's like they're having fun. They believe in each other. You see Minshew in the locker room afterward dancing, and you know what? It's an honest joy. It's not, hey, I got to dance because I'm branding myself as a dancer guy. It's none of that shit. It's just really, really fun.
You've turned me on to that, and I really watched a couple of things. Colts do a lot of rotating in and out, particularly on the defensive front. Yeah. And those guys legitimately hustle in, hustle out, slap five with each other. It's you don't really notice it until you, like you said. I would actually argue the last couple of years have been dull, lifeless. Last year was the worst, but I thought that being at the game and seeing their esprit de corps and their you used the word joy, and I think it's an accurate word. They just like playing, and everybody seems like they have a role and they're doing their thing. Like it's really fun.
Whether it's Tony Brown on the block, Nick Cross playing more at the free safety and getting the block. You know, everybody's trying to contribute in whatever way they can. Isaiah McKenzie with a big return yesterday. And they keep getting rewarded for it. And I think the more you get rewarded for it, the more you replicate the behavior. Yeah. And even though these games are really weird and maybe the Colts should be 5-7 instead of 7-5, you can make that argument. I think the more you win games like that, the more you're going to win games like that.
Oh, this is the time. I've had every bettor that I've ever known. Every bettor say this is the time you make a lot of money in NFL betting because there are teams that are going away.
Yeah.
There are teams. This is starting to get to the point where some are coming, some are going, and the Colts are coming. And I don't care who they're playing. I mean, they're not playing a great schedule. They're playing they're playing a great schedule for them.
Yeah, right.
Great schedule.
It's awesome.
It's fantastic because those guys are on scholarship too. Those guys are making money. Those guys are making millions. And they're in the NFL, and they're on our schedule. And when we win, we solidify ourselves as, I don't know, comeback team of the year, coach of the year, playoff. I mean, they're right in the middle now.
Yeah.
I mean, before last week, you felt like you were on the edge a little bit, and they still got to go on the road to play a very able team. But now, they're in the middle of it.
They are, and they're the 7th seed now, but they're tied for the 6th and the 5th. They've got a game against the Steelers, and the Steelers are in the middle of a huge collapse.
Iowa.
Yikes.
Same colors as Iowa football, same offense as Iowa football. Oh, my God.
And the Texans, they're at 7-5. You got a game against them. They're playing well.
Really well.
So that may not come at the right time, but it seems like every time the Colts play somebody, guys get hurt. Yesterday, Simmons gets hurt.
Yep.
Derrick Henry got hurt. Joe Burrow. Yeah. Burrow for next week is out, and they got that the crappy walk-on from Washington. Yeah. So
I'm you know what? I always tell people, man, they don't say who is playing when at the end of the season they put you in the playoffs or they seed you in a tournament. They didn't ask, well, who'd you beat and who was playing? Oh shit, I don't know. I can't remember that far.
You know what? I still have people that comment and they say the Colts are making a mistake. They're in the middle of this rebuild. They need a higher draft pick. And then they cite Marvin Harrison Jr. as the guy that they should want. They did exactly this in 1995, where they kind of got into with Harbaugh as a backup quarterback, starting and going haywire. They get into the playoffs at 9-7, and they draft 19th, and they drafted Marvin Harrison Sr. at 19, and Keyshawn Johnson was number 1 overall. You never know.
No. I would argue that it also is. Well, first, you never apologize for winning. Ever.
Right.
I don't give a shit. But this franchise needed a boost. This franchise needed some momentum. Yeah. They were losing season ticket holders. They were losing attendance. Really, this was a colossal dumpster fire a year ago on top of one the previous year. And this isn't exactly like a historical football town. I mean, we're since 84. Right. I don't give a shit when anybody says they needed momentum in this organization, and they got it right now.
And this town does turn its back. Oh, they do not respond well to losing. Pacers started losing. People stayed home in droves.
Yeah. No, I think that whatever argument anybody wants to make about not having to win, I think is crap. I do. I think it's crap.
Well, it goes against everything that these guys actually think about and what they value. Nobody tries to lose a game as a coach.
To me, that's just, what's the right word? That's just talking bullshit. That's all that is.
Yeah.
Is saying, well, we do. Okay, so let's say you got the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Let's just say for the sake of argument, you got the number 1 pick. And the number 1 pick, by all accounts, is Caleb Williams. Does that guy really get you excited the way he's transpired? Right?
Not at all.
Not at all. And he's the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Like, with all due respect to Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm sure he's going to be the next big thing because a guy that talented coming into the NFL, with the way the rules are, you're going to be the next best thing. But he ain't going number 1.
Right.
I mean, I don't know where all these draft choices lie, and he's talked about coming back. So, it's not like the other teams aren't going to try to get Marvin Harrison too.
Right.
So screw that. I'm not worried about that future.
But she'll win games.
Yes, go win games. And you know what? Again, I'm going to credit Ballard. He went out and signed probably, the best, I think he is the best backup in the league to have on your team.
Yep.
And some of these draft choices, Granison made a play yesterday, and, Dio's been okay, and Quiddy Pay not much.
Samson Ebicom as a free agent signing, kind of under the radar.
Big one.
Awesome. Huge.
I'll tell you something else. Freaking Matt Gay ain't a bad pickup.
No, he's been pretty
good. I don't
good.
give a shit. You only need a kicker when you need a damn kicker.
If they've got Chase McLaughlin instead of Matt Gay, they're probably 5-7 instead of 7-5.
I mean, that's
4-4 yesterday.
And we were all, you and I, that's the reason I asked you about your corners, because we were talking about corners from the time we started talking about the Colts, and I didn't see where they got messed up early. Like the first pass play of the game looked like in the secondary.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but my buddy and I looked at each other like, what the hell? Because 2 guys went here, they left a guy wide open, and you're sitting there going, okay, well, this happens enough. You're going to let a bad team beat you, and you're going to let a quarterback, once again, look great.
Don't you feel like with this team, they ought to be winning games by 10, 18 points?
I do.
I mean,
particularly against who they're playing.
But they're not putting anybody away, and they're letting people kind of hang around. Well, but they're not all that great themselves.
That's what I'm saying.
I think I'm casting them in the wrong light.
I think they should have been down in that game.
Yeah.
And then I thought they should have been up by 2 scores in that game.
Yeah.
Here's what I was worried about. They get down, and I thought that Pierce was on like the 2 when he caught the pass in overtime. They put him on the 5.
Yeah.
And I go, man, we don't have replay where we were at, so he was must have been out at the 5. First play was a miscommunication, and I'm like, oh man. You know how your brain goes, will they go for it on 4th down? Will they go for the win? Or are they going to run here to get to the 3, maybe run here to get to the 1?
Right.
You know what I mean? They came right back with the same play.
Right.
Came right back with it.
And the first time they ran it, that got tipped a little bit, and that could have been bad news.
Right.
I think that Michael Pittman Jr. might be the best runner of slants maybe I've ever seen. He is always open running slants. Never open deep, but man, this cat runs a slant. He is going to get clearance. He's going to get a step and get the catch, always.
That's a great point, because he was wide open on that touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't go back and look and see what he was on the first play, but it did get tipped, and they must have thought he was open, because they went right back and ran it.
Well, it kind of threw it to Pierce, right? But I couldn't tell whether it was to Pierce or Pittman, but I think it hit Pierce somehow or another, but it was too hard. Minshew makes things more difficult for himself than he has to. The pocket's clean. Stop scurrying around like, this little chipmunk. Stop doing that. Just stand there and deliver the damn football. Let's go.
I agree. I agree. But you know what? At $1 million, well, I didn't care about the money, but I was thinking about this. So let me ask you. Josh Dobbs was getting all the interest because he did his thing, but now he's showing is there really a backup? Like Trubisky came in yesterday. He was no good. He was doing his thing. Whoever's playing in New England stinks.
Right.
The Jets, they're begging Zach Wilson to come back, and he's like, well, you got to ask me nice. You're like, who is a backup? I was really thinking about this. Like, who is a backup is winning games in the NFL?
They had that guy. The Bears had that guy.
Oh, yeah. Banchett.
Yeah. I haven't seen a backup do anything that reminds me of Minshew as far as productivity. Yesterday, he was really, I thought he was good enough to not lose you the game. He didn't lose in the game, and that's really his job.
I'll make the argument that he won you the game by
Yeah, you
dropping
could.
it over the top.
I was arguing with myself
Yeah,
in
right.
my head as I said it.
Well, it's just one play, though. The throw over the top in overtime got him the win, but because I don't know that they're driving 75 yards in 4 minutes.
Not like 14 plays.
No, not in that time, in 4 minutes.
The ball early to Pierce
Tremendous.
was huge, and it just dropped it right in the bucket.
But like Arizona, when before Kyler Murray, and they had a big win, obviously, against the Steelers, but before he came back, their backup, one of them was Josh Dobbs.
Yeah.
He was like 1-7. Minnesota with Dobbs, no good. It's just amazing, and maybe it speaks to maybe you and I are not giving the talent level of the Colts enough credit. Maybe this is a really talented team, and they're back because they're the only team really winning with a backup.
It's a great conversation to have because one of two things is happening. Either they are more talented than people give them credit, or they're playing in good luck, or the bad schedule. And that this isn't really even a binary discussion. It could be all three.
Yeah.
No,
I think it is all three because I don't think the schedule's perfect. But I was just thinking about that. We were driving home going, all right, who is winning with a backup quarterback?
Yeah.
Purdue was out for a game or so. I don't know who replaced him. I can't remember. It was San Francisco.
Hurts. Darnold. Somebody else. Yeah. I thought it was going to be Darnold.
Yeah, and damn, hey, look, well, 7-4, 7-5 is not great. Well, they're not 7-5. They've won 3 or 4. They're playing great. They're getting better,
and they're fun.
Yes.
Yeah,
and give credit where it's due, man. They come from nowhere. And Steichen should be. I don't know who the coach of the year is. I guess you could put him in with anybody.
Yeah, you don't want to Sirianni,
D'Amico Ryans.
Huh?
Ryans with Houston's got to be.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He got to be in there.
Because they started out looking like garbage.
Right.
And they've kind of they've really gotten it together. He's a good coach. That was a good hire.
But I think that, and I'm telling you, maybe I'm wrong, but when you look at all of a sudden the Houston Texans from where they were, 2 things happened. They got a new coach and they got a new quarterback.
Yeah.
And that quarterback is pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
Shit, he's good.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Apparently Carolina didn't either.
He's a ball placement specialist.
Jesus. I mean, all he does, it's not, would you agree with this? I was talking about Luck. So Luck would do this when he was younger in particular. He'd throw like 2 picks in the first half and he would come off and hands around his head. And after the game, he would use some big word and the media would go nuts. But then you get down 14-3 and then he'd go on this massive comeback. His numbers would end up 270 yards passing. But it was his fault in the first freaking place.
Right.
That's not what Stroud does. Stroud gets him off 17-3. Stroud gets him off 14-0 as a freaking rookie. Luck always drove me nuts with that shit.
Nobody was better at climbing out of a hole than he dug for himself.
He dug for himself.
Yeah, he was really good. And it was fun, that playoff game against the Chiefs. Shit, he throws the pick in the second half when they're dead. Yeah. And you think because of that pick, well, they're really dead now. And then the ball, like Donald Brown or whoever, the ball hits the turf and Luck grabs it, takes it in. You're like, there's no way they're losing this game. It's impossible to lose a game where something that good happens.
And Luck was the best. I mean, his numbers I go, yeah, but his numbers for the other team were good too. And then everybody can play when you're getting your ass beaten. There's nothing to lose. But that's where I've been impressed with Stroud.
And that's how you don't go to a Super Bowl.
Right.
Because you can't beat a good team after digging yourself that hole.
Right.
The good teams they're gonna throw the dirt on your head.
Yes.
And then it's over.
Speaking of Super Bowl, who do you like? Like, I was impressed. I didn't watch it. I listened to it as we were driving home yesterday. But I got to tell you, San Francisco must be damn good.
I like San Francisco. If you can put pressure on the opposing passer at the level they can, you can win you can beat anybody.
Speaking of that game, so the NFL is starting to talk about publicly, Goodell, eliminating that tush push. What do you think?
You know what? Defend it like a person. The Colts have tried it, and it's failed every single time they tried it.
Yes.
With a 250-pound quarterback.
Yes.
So, you know what? That's like eliminating passes over 60 yards if you got a guy who can throw it 80 and drop it in the bucket.
Right.
They're really good at it.
Or you can't throw high balls to Harold Carmichael because he's too tall.
Yeah.
Right? You have to throw him chest high.
It's like the 6'4" and under, basketball league they had back in the day.
Yeah. I don't think they should have. I mean, is it so dangerous? Is it? I mean, I don't know.
Nope.
But all I know is they can't stop it.
And it does help the Colts. They do get good shove once in a while. Not the tush push, but helping Jonathan Taylor or Moss or somebody with the ball. They can move the pile a
When
little
did
bit.
that start? I know
It used to be illegal.
It was illegal forever,
yeah.
and now you got to keep watching the play. What game was it yesterday? It was a night game last night. That guy Pacheco was like at the 5 and stopped, and all of a sudden the line moved him, and next thing you know, he's damn near at the goal line, and I turned away 3 different times. Like, what? No, what? He's still going. What? Huh?
If they can get somebody hurt
Right.
on that play, if somebody tears an ACL or has a career-ending something or other, then they'll outlaw.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree. It's going to take that, but I saw that, and I thought, well, defend it. What a great move.
You know what? And this is kind of off the beaten path, but you couldn't hear it. But Matt Ryan, as it turns out, is a pretty damn good analyst.
Is he?
Yeah, he was all right.
Was he?
He has the typical personality of the CBS guy, meaning no personality whatsoever. But his analysis and his insight of the game was surprisingly interesting to me.
All those guys have that. It's getting it from here and here out of here.
Yeah.
That what you just said makes it interesting. What made him interesting?
I think maybe it was him talking specifically about the Colts. I don't know if he's got, if he was doing the Jets and the Lions, I don't know if he can bring enough specificity to it.
Yeah.
But talking about what Alec Pierce does well, or Michael Pittman Jr., or that line, what they do well. He was really interesting, kind of breaking down the Colts in a way that I thought was different and interesting.
And he was there.
Yeah, right. So he knows the guys and he knows the front office. But it wasn't necessarily just that. It was okay. He had not a commanding presence, but he had a command of the information, and he conveyed it in a really simple way.
I haven't heard him. Is this the first time we've had him?
We always get
think
Spiro
Adam
Dennis and Adam
Archuleta.
Archuleta. God almighty.
No.
I'm glad those guys found something else to do yesterday.
Well, now the Colts got to be moving up the food chain.
Yeah.
Like,
The Steelers game got flexed.
I know.
They're playing on national TV.
Colts against Iowa. Hey, all you got to do, Colts, is get to 15. I think you got a good shot. You get to 17, it's a lock. I mean, in that game, what the hell?
And they're pretty good at that. They did that against the Patriots.
A couple weeks ago, they were the only team that scored 20 every game this year. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I don't think they've scored under 20.
The Patriots game.
They were under 20?
They did,
Okay,
yeah.
whenever that
But other
happened,
than
that stopped it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, honest to God.
And they still generated a turnover in every game this season, all 12 games.
Even without Eberflus?
It's amazing. Floose.
Ben, hope they throw it to us. By the way, your boy, Shaq Leonard, signed today.
Where'd he go?
Eagles.
Really?
Yeah. He went to the Eagles.
Nick's going to figure out he can't play anymore.
That's
going to be trouble.
Did you see the big security guard got kicked out of the game?
Yeah.
You
know what? Some goofy guy does this to me, I'm coming too.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm a media guy in the sidelines. I get this. No. I can't have that.
So if I'm the Colts or the Steelers or whoever, I'm getting a guy on my sidelines that goes like that in some player's face.
That was a nice move, wasn't it? Security guy versus starting level player.
Yeah, Greenlaw gets thrown out, and he's a starter.
Yeah.
And some fat security guy. I was wondering, why is the fat security guy in the front? Why ain't he in the back protecting the people that are coming at you? If I'm the security guy, who are you protecting you from in the front? The players? The refs? What? I couldn't believe that. I don't think I've seen that. I saw the one guy, remember years ago, wasn't even that long ago, guy on the sideline, like the strength coach in a college game, like stuck out his foot on a running back. Yeah. Remember that? Remember that?
Yeah, that's no good.
I couldn't believe. Hey, IU basketball's pretty good, huh?
Well, they beat Maryland.
Yeah.
Nobody had it on in Nashville, so I watched what I could on my iPhone, but other than that,
Maryland is so bad.
They're bad.
Kent, I'm watching them, and I feel bad for this kid, Dante Scott, because he's been there forever, and he's played well. Honest to God, I'm watching this team. They hit 2 threes all game. Indiana only hit 3.
Yeah.
But I'm all in on Indiana. Are we in on
a good
Indiana
night for
football?
Indiana, 3 threes. Hey, As long as Curt Cignetti's undefeated, I am all good with Curt Cignetti. Let's go. Purdue sucks. Does that guy know how to work the crowd?
So does Ohio State and Michigan. I said on Twitter that the inexperience of youth, and people are like, well, he's 62. I go, no. Youth in terms of who he's going to have to play against.
Yeah, this isn't the Sun Belt.
No. And these dudes are like, hey, I mean, Ohio State had a monster bad day today. The quarterback left.
Isn't that weird?
A five-star wide receiver, five-star corner. There was a list of these guys that have left, and it's like 10, and I think about 8 of them were players. Like,
is that just guys? And McCord sent like a social media thing saying like he's wheels up, he's gone. So is that like NIL, where somebody's offering him more money than he can make at Ohio State, and so he's jumping for the cash? I don't know to what extent like NIL does that.
It didn't happen in a vacuum. Hey, we got a barge out there. See the barge? Deaton's Docks.
Deaton's Docks.
Deaton's Docks. They gave us a dock. Deaton's Docks. I love their docks. But it doesn't. Oh, Danny,
every time
Danny
you say it, you get a
stipend. I can't believe I'm wearing a shirt. What do I got here? Yeah, what we say about Coach Knight, that motherfucker would endorse a banana, and he hadn't had a banana since the 70s. That was always our thing with
He
Coach.
did have the NASCAR sweater down in Texas Tech, right?
O'Reilly's Auto Parts. Surprised he didn't get it tattooed on his back. What were we talking about? Was it IU?
No, Ohio State. And McCord.
Yeah, it's not it's here's what I think happened. Now, somebody told me today Ohio State guy told me they thought he was Ohio State's got a quarterback ready to come in, and he's like, hey, screw you. I'm not doing. Ohio State has money, and the quarterback, Aaron Murray actually told me, that former Georgia quarterback, he's really good. He's on ESPN and Sirius, and he's really good. And he was like, look, Ohio State's got money. Because what happened here was Day, staff, probably were very honest with him and said, you ain't going to be our guy next year unless something dramatic happens. We're going to bring in, I mean, there's all these guys. The starting quarterback at Colorado or Oklahoma just came in. A kid named Gabriel, who was really good late in games. A kid named Ward from Washington State that apparently is going to command up to $2.5 to $3.5 million to come. So, the thought is Ohio State has one of these guys already locked in. And then another guy, I forget, well, maybe it was a kid from Duke, but this kid threw for 3,200 yards, 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and lost 1 game. And people are bitching about this quarterback.
It's
good
the
for
game
Ohio
that
State.
He lost.
I know, and he was driving them, and he got hit.
I don't know how you regulate it. And if the way they're doing it is they didn't know what to legislate for and against in a vacuum, so they wanted to see how this thing plays out. Mm-hmm. But you've got to do something to just change the business model of college sports, or this is Camp Run Amok. This is insanity.
I've said this forever. You have to at some point protect the school and the sport.
Yeah.
I get it. We're all supposed to kiss the ass 18 to 23-year-olds, and they're all supposed. But if you're a fan of Ohio State, and you got 18 different guys coming in every year, and I guess winning solves all. So Ohio State probably wouldn't care who's a quarterback if they beat Michigan and vice versa. But at some point, fans are going to go, "This is nuts. What are we doing?" I don't see it changing. I don't see there's Manchin and Tommy Tuberville have bills going on in Congress that are supposedly regulated. But what are you going to do? Once you let that cat out of the bag and money's flowing, it ain't going back in the bag.
Notre Dame is going to have a different starting quarterback every season forever if it continues like this.
Yeah, because if they get a new one, nobody's developing behind him.
One of the parts of being a baseball fan that's kind of fun is keeping up with guys in the farm system. You got this guy AA, this guy AAA. College football, you have none of that because you can go it's insane levels of free agency. Everybody is a free agent every year. That's terrible.
My thing is I don't want to hear anybody bitch at Cignetti or anybody else with all these kids deciding they're leaving. I don't want to hear anybody bitch. That's why I didn't listen to it when they talked about Deion Sanders running guys off. Yeah. I don't want to hear none of it. if it's a business and you can do what you want, then you can do what you want as a coach. I swear to God, that's how I feel about it, Kent. I just don't want to hear. I don't want to hear any sad songs about it. I just don't.
I think that's one of the reasons why Deion Sanders vibed with us initially, because he was holding people a little bit accountable, and he was treating these, entitled, sweet snowflake children like men. And like, you either pony up or you get the hell out of here. All right, get the hell out. I'm going with somebody else. There was a consequence. And I don't think that kids are being held accountable at the level they need to in order to learn and become real adults.
Well, real adults is the key.
Yeah.
I mean, look, what does everybody always say? Man, if you gave me money, if you did this and you didn't give me any accountability when I was 18, 23-year-old, I'd be nuts. Well, there is no accountability for these guys 18, 23-year-old. Right. You don't like it, you go. You're not making enough here. You write one of those long speeches and say, I love my time here. God chose me. But having said that, I love Hoosier Nation, but I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Like, you just do, and there's no, then you go to the next place, and what happens in the next place? They kiss your ass.
Right.
It's a constant cycle of getting...
Until they don't.
Well, that's the thing.
And then it's not your fault, it's their fault, because they don't know how special you are.
That's what that DJ Ungale did. He was a quarterback, biggest recruit in the country, goes to Clemson, gets beat out by the end of the year by a kid who was another first-round pick. He goes to Oregon State. He rips the Clemson coaches because they didn't know how to use him. He goes to Oregon State. They win some games. Guess what he does? He's gone. He's out in the pool. So, you mentioned that last week about a couple players. Like, if he's going to talk shit about Clemson, now he's leaving Oregon State. He's going to talk shit about Oregon State, too, because they don't know how special he is.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's no good.
No.
And if you turn 30... They make movies about these guys, and these are the sad guys who spend Tuesday afternoon in bars.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're the guys, people just don't understand how special I am. Yeah, I'll have another one. That's no way to live your life, kids.
Right, Van Pasterman means you don't have to grow up and compete. You can just quit and leave. And look, I get it. Like, here's the other thing, and we're solving all the problems here, but I'm more of the educate people. Like, everybody says kids should have this freedom. Okay, fine. But I'm just telling you, there was like a kid a year minimum when I was in Indiana. And by the end of it at Bowling Green, a lot of kids were leaving and coming. But every single kid that I ever talked to that either transferred in or transferred out said the best year of their life in college was the transfer sit-out year.
Yeah.
They got their education in order. They got their body in order. They got to understand what college was really about. They got older. They played as a fifth-year guy instead of as a freshman, which is a big difference. Every guy, the best year we ever had. And not one guy said, I wish I'd have played. They did at the time.
Right.
But after, they're like, best year I ever had.
So freshman eligibility. Like, they used to be ineligible.
Yeah.
That's not a bad rule.
It's not a terrible rule. No, it's not a terrible rule. People think, you're a freshman, you don't play. No, you play in a freshman team, you play again. Like, people at Indiana, was it McGinnis? Maybe McGinnis was eligible. Maybe it was Ohio State with Coach Knight and Havlicek and Lucas.
Yeah. They
had bigger crowds for the freshman games than they did.
Maravich down at LSU.
100%.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. That's never coming back. But I don't know. I'm anxious 5 to 10 years from now, what happens to the majority of these kids that left 3 or 4 times?
It mandates that they not be in a hurry, because there's nothing to be in a hurry for.
Where you going?
That is a great rule. I like that rule a lot.
I'm with you. Yeah, and it's never coming back.
No.
And softball used to do this. Basketball and football were late to the party. Softball, baseball, I'm sure volleyball, I don't know, but I knew baseball and I knew softball. You could transfer once and not have to sit out. So I remember she got a catcher from somewhere, a pitcher from Washington, state of Washington, she was transferred. I go, well, then she have to sit out? She goes, no, she can play. If she transfers from us, then she's going to have to sit out a year and she'll lose a year. But, so, okay, maybe that's the way, fine. But to transfer, play, some of these guys are on their 4 schools.
Yeah. And it never works. And you want to take the coach at Loyola of Chicago. When Ryan was there, they had a kid, Justin Sarasoli. Sarasoli went to
I remember him.
Ole Miss, Seton Hall, like Loyola was his 4th school. And I thought, Weitzel, what are you doing? Do you not see the problem with this kid? Maybe a wonderful kid and a really talented guy, but my God. You think you got the secret combination to unlock the talent?
The answer is yes. Are you shitting me? Can't the coach always get in my culture? That's right, that Jalen Coleman Lambs. Didn't he go about 3 or 4 places?
Yeah, he went to DePaul. He went to Illinois, then DePaul. Kansas he wound up at, and he went someplace else. Great kid. Yeah, I like him. Yeah. Good kid.
Yeah, and again,
He played for 7 years.
Did he really?
7. Well, he was around for 7. I think he had to sit 1 year. Yeah.
I don't know how they're doing it. I'm all for them, but I don't know how. I don't know how they're doing it. I do not know how they're doing it. I do not know. I told Andrew, I said, you're in your 5th year. I applied for a 6th. This is before COVID. I said, why not? They give it. Somehow guys are getting 6, 7 years. He's like, Dad, I don't think I'm doing. I go, well, I know. And then a year later, he's like, what were you meaning when I said 6? I said nothing. Hey, we're fine. All right, let me ask you. Purdue gets beat. Yeah, I'm wrong. I bow to you. I came on this show and I said Purdue's going undefeated. Shit. I tell you this though. Got to give Northwestern that boo-boo. He was throwing some shit in too.
He is a really good basketball player.
He's a good player. He is good.
He's and that's the thing when you're where Purdue is, especially in the conference, because they're the only team that was in the top 15. Yeah. They come to visit you at Northwestern. People are going to show up. People are going to be excited, and they're going to elevate the level of play for their team. And so you wound up with that. I couldn't believe it. Like, I went on, did my video. I was like, this is a 5.5 point game. Purdue's only getting 5.5 at Evanston. What the hell is the matter with people? And then I think, you know what? They're not building buildings by being stupid.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
They missed one a weekend. They missed Indiana -3. You and I talked about that.
Right.
Yeah, they missed that one. They'll miss one, maybe 2 a weekend, but it wasn't that one, apparently.
And Purdue's gone, well, it's tonight, right? Purdue's got Iowa. They're going to
18 point
Iowa's
spread.
Ass.
18 point spread.
Fran, it's the reason to watch. Fran's going to turn purple.
I am hoping. I didn't see what channel it's on. The other night, I'm watching the Purdue game, and I text my buddy Bart Fox. I go, I can tell you're doing this game because he's the best there is. And they showed the line, and they got it real close on the 3-point shot one time. And I'm like, Bart, you got to be doing this game. I smell your greatness. And he's like, I am. Thank you. I hope to God that Bart Fox, I hope it's on Big Ten Network.
And he's got a camera.
Oh, shit, he ain't missing. We're not going anywhere without right there on FranCon. And he may have 2. He may have one like down the old Bob Knight camera at the end of the bench looking this way, and then the front camera looking at. Bart ain't missing FranCon.
They got just the half court camera following the ball, and they got everybody else trained on Fran.
Bart ain't missing. So many guys do stupid shit. They go to like I'm telling you, any discussion if it's on Big Ten Network and Bart has it, any discussion whether it's to the opposing coach that involves Fran, you're gonna see it. Because he ain't missing the slap, or he ain't missing the, you know what I mean? Bart don't miss that stuff, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, it's so good.
I can't wait.
It may be on Fox Sport. I don't know what it's on. It's Monday night, so I don't know.
What is it on? Is it on? It might be on Peacock.
Oh,
I use on Peacock tomorrow night.
That's what I saw. I use on Peacock.
My nephew's got a Peacock subscription, so
I have one.
Through that.
I have one. Peacock's pain in the ass. I'm going to tell you something else. We didn't talk about this. That freaking Thursday night game, my Prime Video kept stopping. I had no freaking volume on it. It literally would stop and the circle would come. I wonder did you guys have that problem? Did you have that problem? Did you watch it? Oh, you didn't watch?
No.
Honest to God, I got no volume. I got nothing. And I'm sitting there going, wait, we pay for this, right? I think. I'm paying for it.
You pay. Well, you get it as part of your Amazon Prime membership, but that's pretty pricey.
I know.
Amazon Prime's money.
I know. My wife did this the other day. She ordered something in the morning and we got it in the afternoon. I didn't know this happened. She's like, it was a book. It was a book, a new Grisham novel. I go, hey, I want that new Grisham novel. She goes, I tell you what, I'll order right now. You have money in the deck. Get out of here. Next thing you know, book was there about 6, 5. I'm like, what? I liked it. I couldn't find it at the bookstore.
It's a miracle.
It was a freaking miracle. And then they did not have the Amazon Prime game figured out, and that pissed me off. So let me gun to head.
Deliver. If you can't deliver, you got a problem.
Purdue +8 or -18.
I'm taking Purdue.
All
I think
day.
they're going to win by 30.
Yeah. Indiana's goes to Michigan. I thought Michigan was really good against St. John's, particularly in the second half, and I thought Michigan was really bad when I watched them get beat by somebody shitty.
Long Beach State.
That's what it was.
Win.
No, that was.
It was a good win for Long Beach State. It was a bad loss for Michigan.
It was a really good win. But shit, hottest team in basketball though. Illinois State. The Redbirds went to UIC, got it done. Came back against Murray, got it done. Hottest team, 2 wins in a row.
Nice.
Thank you. Was watching it during the Colts game. Sitting there in the bleachers watching. Hey, come on, make a shot.
You got the happy head coach.
Yeah.
And the tenacious strategic genius coach in Andrew.
He's bragging. Andrew called me last night. Did you see what we did? I go, yeah, you moved your big guy out to the corner. How'd you know? I go, I watched the game.
What do you think? I was born yesterday?
Yeah.
How do you think you learned this shit, you knucklehead?
He goes, oh, yeah. We moved him out to the corner. He's our PJ Tucker because he was clogging things up. I go, that worked. The kid hit 2 threes. That was good. All right, let's get to something else. I want to go back to Indiana football.
Yeah.
Cignetti says Purdue sucks.
Yeah.
Michigan sucks. But he added something. Ohio sucks. But he added this. I'm sure you saw this. Why are you going up to the Big Ten championship game? He said, because we're going to be in it next year. He didn't say because we're going to hope to be in it next year. He said because we're going to be in it next year.
If you can't believe it, you can't achieve it. You know what I mean? Like you
Speak
can
it into existence.
There's no chance it's actually going to happen. But if you don't buy in yourself, how are you going to sell it to anybody?
What would be, because, a lot of people they call it receipts. We're going to bring out the receipts. What would, I don't see any downside to doing what he did.
No, there's none. Michigan's going to kick your ass from now until the end of time, and so is Ohio State. So why not talk big and see if somebody's listening and have some fun? Have some fun before you start picking up the L's.
Ryan Walter, is that his name? The coach?
Yeah.
He put a tweet out with it in.
Really?
Yeah, he quote tweeted the speech about Purdue sucks, and he put all these different emojis, which I don't know what the fuck they meant. I don't know. But I'm like, there's no downside. No downside to what
there
he
isn't,
did.
and you never answer back.
No,
never answer back.
No.
Because that shows they got your attention. When Cignetti got his attention.
Yes. When Walters did that, the only thing I responded was, this is going to be fun. Right?
Well, it's a hell of a lot more fun than grabbing our ankles and waiting for our ass kicking.
Right. Or Leo, and some psychotic, hey, I don't know. Woo! You broke the TV. You broke it. Look at that.
That's how we want this to freeze.
I'm giving.
All right, there. We're back. Excellent then. Yeah. Look, that's Tom Allen. That's how close Tom Allen's got a direct line to God. You start messing with Tom Allen. You insult Tom Allen, he's going to put the whammy on your machine.
He stopped us in our tracks.
Yep.
He stopped.
I'm tired of this crap. Lord God, smite that man's iPhone 15 Pro and boom.
All right, we got Robbie Phillips, Michael Brown. I'm going to ask you guys. Gritty's been on here. Van Pasterman, Ken Sterling sitting right here. So here's the question. You're Tom Allen. You just got one of your balloon payments. $5 million, whatever. Yeah. Where are you right now? This moment.
Me?
Yeah.
I'd be, I think Cabo, at a place called The Office, which has like couches and endless, whatever kind of Mexican beer you like. And you can sit there and watch the ocean until you get so pickled you got to go do something else.
I would be at the JW Marriott Marco Island. It's right there on the water.
Good call.
And it's one of those places, because there's not a lot of them, one of those places where the beach is right there. Great drinks. Lee and I went there on our first date, really, when I got divorced. I said, the day I'm divorced, I'm meeting you in Marco. The day my divorce came, got a flight, went to Marco. I would be there because I don't think anybody would know you. I don't think anybody would give a shit about. Maybe there'd be some Indiana people. They would be supportive, fine. But I would be 3, 4, 5 beers in, and I'd have a cabana. I don't know.
If he went sans hat and didn't have like the high collar thing working and didn't celebrate, every time he got a beer, didn't go, woo, woo. Like nobody would know him. He's just some doofus.
Yeah, don't wear an Indiana shirt, right? Like, don't go woo.
Hey, they're only like I only got that bullet in my gun for so long. Yeah, I'm never going to be able to knock Tom Allen again. So we better get it out of our system.
You better put your seatbelt on and drive the speed limit going home. I'll say it right now, boy. You better do that.
Go be a tree falls out of the car.
Shit, you better.
Lightning.
Yeah, but like somebody said, well, I wonder if he's trying to get another job, like defensive coordinator. Guys, football does that shit, right?
He's a crazy grinder.
Football guy. I used to tell coaches. I remember Urban saying, "Why don't you go back and coach?" I go, "Because I love my life."
Yeah. Right.
I go, now he's like, "Oh, I see what you meant," but yeah, he'll be trying to get the offensive coordinator job at Liberty or defensive coordinator job at Liberty or South Central Florida or wherever the hell, and it's just stupid.
Guys, this is why Crean went back. Why Crean went to Georgia. Why? You've got all the money you're ever going to be able to spend. You're not very good at your job. Just get on with your life. Get good at your life. Stop trying to be good at the thing you're not very good at.
I'm telling you, man, I say to anybody that asks me, a lot of coaches did ask me, back in the day, like, why not? And I said, you find out at the first Thanksgiving what a great life it is not to have to worry about where your team is eating. When are we practicing on Thanksgiving? Yeah. And then it's like 11 o'clock at night and you get home and everything's over and you haven't been with your family and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, I swear to God, I think Tom Allen is probably right now in somebody's office convincing them, watching film, to hire him as a defensive coordinator. I swear to God, you're right. That's what he seems like he is.
That's so sad.
That's sad.
Because I think balance is so critical in everything, but especially in life. That if you go haywire in either direction, if you go too far family, that isn't going to work. No. If you go too far professionally, that isn't going to work.
I agree.
You got to be kind of here, and you've got to have a boss who understands that. And if you have a boss who wants you to grind at 150% every day, submit your resignation and get the hell out immediately.
Particularly if you're a young guy that wants to have a family.
Yeah.
Like if you're a young guy or you got a family, man. I told Andrew this the other day. He's like, I go, you get engaged? Like, well, there's not a good time. I go, well, there's never a good time. There's never the right time. You're always going to think you got to make more money. You always got to think, blah, blah, blah. There's never the perfect. Everybody waiting for well, it's got to be the right situation, coaches and coaches' job. Okay, shut up. Like, you know what I mean? Nothing's ever perfect or guaranteed to be perfect. So you make the best, you go with the ones you love, and you figure it out. Yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely right.
People would pay for this kind of advice. Why is Juan Carlos still doing this? Juan Carlos, is he a runner? Is he one of the guys? Juan Carlos is like, I keep thinking about Tommy Smith and Juan Carlos with the sign. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Indiana, good. Purdue, probably the best.
Yeah.
Michigan State, who is any good in the Big Ten?
Well, I think that in February, it's going to be a different answer to the question. I think Michigan's going to get good or going to get better, and Indiana is getting them at the right time.
Do we like Ohio State?
I never they're always so close to being good with Holtman, but they never get there, and I don't know why.
His first year, they were 15-3, and it's funny. Andrew's like, we didn't win one thing. Like, really? You're 15? Yeah, I didn't win the league. Didn't win the conference tournament. Didn't get to the Sweet 16. Interesting. And they haven't been able to do that. Now, I watched their team, and I think they're pretty good. But I would bet you, have you been to an IU basketball game?
Not this year.
I bet you, everybody in this chat that goes to IU basketball game, the first thing you're going to see is, man, is Indiana big and long?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a good thing to be in college basketball.
Is it possible to win against a good team if you can't hit threes? Because they don't. Their max this year is 4.
I know.
They rank 362nd in percentage of points scored from beyond the arc. Last.
I know.
12.8%. Last.
You're going to lose to somebody that you shouldn't lose to for damn sure.
Yeah.
Because somebody's going to make some threes. Like, I thought that Purdue game, when Purdue would get up 3, bam, somebody would come down on the other end. Oh, wait, I wanted to ask you. I knew Mark Barnheiser. He was coaching. I knew him. His kid's good.
Yeah.
Was he always good, his kid? Like, could he have gone to Indiana or Purdue? I don't remember.
I always thought he should have. Okay. I always think that guys like that get graded down by Indiana because they don't fit the profile.
Okay.
Like from a star perspective.
Yeah. But what about Purdue?
He
seemed
looks
perfect
like he
for
checks
Purdue.
all of their boxes.
He looks like kind of what Purdue kind of needs.
Yeah, right.
Like I saw him last year and I thought he was good. But I didn't remember him being this strong. Like he apparently is an addicted to basketball kind of guy. He's got a basketball addiction, which is exactly what you want.
Right.
But I'm watching them and I'm watching exactly what you said. Purdue gets up 3, boom, they came down here 3. Purdue gets a bike, boom, they came down here to jump shot, boom, they get making shots is so freaking important. But one of the things, and this did not happen for Purdue, it did because they gave up 90 some points. But one of the things on the road that you got to have is something that Indiana has. The ability, and Purdue has, better than Indiana. When there's chaos and the crowd feels like it's on top of you, you got to have the great elixir where I can just throw that ball inside and I get a great look. I'm not saying you're making all of them, but I'm going to get a great look because so many times you see runs from a visiting team, supposedly better team on the road in a high stress moment. You see runs because of jump shots, rebound long, boom, next time down, jump shot, rebound, boom, 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 boom. And the next thing you know, it's a 7-0 run in the middle of a second half and you go from 2 down to 9 down and the game is in hand now. It's tough.
Right.
But when you can just do what Indiana does, that's great on the road.
The thing that obviously you like about threes, but I kind of like threes being sort of like in the NFL. And the Colts tried to do this yesterday, and they sort of did with a field goal at the end of the first half and then a field goal to start the second. If you can go, obviously this is really good. You hit a 3, get a stop, hit a 3, get a stop, hit a 3. You go on that 3-possession 9-0 run, it's almost impossible to not win that game.
I would argue 8-0 run's just as good. Hard to hit 3 threes in a row for one team, but an 8-0 run is pretty good. How about, did you see this the other day? I've never seen this either. Luka Doncic and the Mavericks went on a 30-0 run and lost the game. 30-zip run in the middle of the game and lost. They had never.
That's horrifying.
Doncic after the game said, "I'm just tired. I'm just tired.
I have no explanation.
I'm just tired. Exhausted."
Jeez.
30-0. But that 8-0 run, that maybe it's a 2, then 2 straight threes, or 3 or 2. It spreads the game, or it gets you right back in the game.
Yeah.
And that is where Indiana might have a problem.
And it's like getting hit in the face. Like all of a sudden, it's 45 seconds. And you've worked your ass off to build like a 7-point run. And all of a sudden, they're up by 1. You're like,
yes.
What happened?
Yes. And you're so right. And a lot of times what happens is you get just as good a look as they get. They just happen to make. And you happen to miss. I mean, it's not like, people always think when somebody goes on a run, well, it's a bad shot. No, a lot of times, in and out, boom, particularly on the road. The in and out on the road just makes you crazy. And the end of the shot clock, banked in 3, that invariably happens at home for you 2 or 3 times. Like, Jesus. Like, why does that happen? I'm telling you, watch how many balls go in and out for the road team in Big Ten play when it's a good game. When one team isn't clearly playing better than the other. It's freaking amazing.
The rims in different gyms seem to have different feelings. Do they?
Yeah.
Why? How's that happen?
Well,
the structure's the same, right?
Yeah, but there's thicker. There's like we called it the glove, and one of my idiot players at Bowling Green said it in the paper. So it was a broken rim that we played at in the second half.
Yeah,
you couldn't tell it was broken, but it would, like Bonzi Wells hit a 5 bouncer on it my first, boom, 2, 3 from 3, and the coach at Toledo was smart. Like before the game, he had it measured, and the rim looked like it was a little bit tilted down, so when they put a regular one up, it looked like it was going straight up, and we shot like shit. I gave him credit. They're like, "Hey, coach, they're fixing the rims out there." I go, the referees.
Smart guy.
But, hey, the tightness gets adjusted different. I always thought Madison Square Garden, when I played, had some really soft rims. I don't think they ever breakaway. Well, they might have been breakaways. But when breakaways rims came in, this is how old I am, everybody thought they were the softest ever.
Yeah.
They weren't any different, but you pull them down and you think that they're soft. But yeah, Assembly halls were always very nice, very good for most people. Yeah, I don't know. But Spring
All
loaded.
right, Colts this week. I don't know. Is it too early to talk about Colts this week?
Never.
The Bengals got the Bengals tonight, so we get to watch and kind of. Would you rather have the Bengals lose and drop pretty much completely out of the playoffs, or the Jaguars lose and the Colts are within a game? But with the tiebreaker, they're really two back.
I think I want to start eliminating teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now if the Colts had lost, I would like the Jaguars to lose, or even the Bengals. I want to think of this as, let's do the cliches. This is a 1 week season. We got to win this week, right?
Got to go 1-0.
I think if the Bengals lose, they're on the brink of packing her in.
They're going to lose hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about earlier about betting in the NFL, because teams are coming and teams are going. Right?
Yep.
I mean, even if you're in the mix, even if you're 7, even if you're 6-6, you're still coming.
Right.
But you drop below, because they watch on TV. They saw yesterday, how they put up who's in the playoffs, who's in the hunt, players see that.
Yeah.
So I think if regardless of what happens, if they're a game or two, whatever, if you can get 8-5 next week, that's my focus, and I want the Bengals to lose this week.
And most importantly, the over is already money. 6.5, right? Was the over under for the Colts? So 7.
I thought you were talking about tonight, because I got a sack attack. Early sack is unbelievable. I can't say his full name. We call him the sack attack. He already sent me early. He goes into the lab. He's made. He likes the sports bet, and he's good at it. He sent me take over 40 tonight. They already put it in. It's already in. It's locked, loaded. Gonna go get some Doritos or some Smart popcorn.
Nobody lives the life you do.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
You know how to work a day.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
All right.
What else? Anything else?
No, that's about
All
it.
right. Subscribe and like. What are you doing?
Yeah, come on. It's the polite thing to do. And you want to make a donation, do it.
Yeah, please.